Welcome back. In 1800, our nation's second chief executive, John Adams, became the first president to reside in the executive mansion, which you and I know better as the White House. Before that, when our capital was temporarily located in Philadelphia, our commanders-in-chief resided at the president's house. That location, the scene of tonight's American Place.
Visitors to Philadelphia's Liberty Bell are greeted by a bizarre structure that looks like a half-built home. It is actually an important monument to a tumultuous chapter of American history. This rebuilt frame of a three-story brick mansion built in 1767 was a key operations center during the Revolution. It was here then military governor and notorious traitor Benedict Arnold lived. After the British evacuated the city, it was within these walls Arnold hatched his secret plan to betray his country. But its most famous residents were two American presidents, George Washington and John Adams. President Washington moved here in 1790 with servants and a staff of 30. While living here, Washington held receptions, public audiences, state dinners, and open houses, making the residence the official entertaining center of a new nation. He oversaw a major expansion and renovation of the home, including transforming a washroom into the president's private office. Washington, a Federalist, was instrumental in planning and ratifying the Bill of Rights. From here, he even planned the future Capitol, which bears his name, in the newly created District of Columbia. But his time here also illustrated the complicated growing pains of a new nation. Washington, a slave owner, took advantage of a Philadelphia law that permitted slaveholders moving into town to keep slaves for 6 months. Afterwards, the slaves were to be set free. Instead, Washington rotated his slaves between here and his home in Mount Vernon. Some escaped. Washington's slaves were freed in his will upon his death in 1799. Our second president, John Adams, also lived here until finally moving into the newly built president's house in Washington in 1800. Tragically, by the 1950s, despite a public outcry, what remained of the house and outbuildings were completely demolished to make way for Independence Mall. The house was lost forever, or so it seemed. In early 2000, during construction of a new Liberty Bell Center, portions of the foundation of the president's house were discovered. More controversy ensued as officials toiled over whether to even acknowledge the mansion and how to best portray features as the home's slave quarters. History is not neat, reads one of the site's transparent walls. It is complicated and messy. This house exposes the core contradiction at the founding of this nation, enshrinement of liberty and the institution of slavery. A civil war would later resolve this terrible contradiction. I'm Lucy Celia, and this is An American Place on Newsmax TV.
The man who hopes to become the next resident at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue held a rally earlier today in South Florida. You've seen some of it before, but it was such a special time for Donald Trump, we thought it was worth a second look.
We already have substantial evidence to dispute these lies, and it will be made public in an appropriate way. These vicious claims about me of inappropriate conduct with women are totally and absolutely false. These lies come from outlets whose past stories and past claims have already been discredited. The media outlets did not even attempt to confirm the most basic facts. Now today, the same two discredited writers who should have been fired from the New York Times for what they did tell another totally fabricated and false story that supposedly took place on an airplane more than 30 years ago. Another ridiculous tale, no witnesses, no nothing. Then there was a writer from People magazine who wrote a story on Melania and myself on our first anniversary. The story was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was lovely. But last night we hear that after 12 years, this took place 12 years ago, this story, a new claim that I made inappropriate advances during the interview to this writer. And I ask a very simple question. Why wasn't it part of the story that appeared 20 or 12 years ago? The claims are preposterous, ludicrous, and defy truth, common sense, and logic. The corporate media in our country is no longer involved in journalism. They're a political special interest, no different than any lobbyist or other financial entity with a total political agenda, and the agenda is not for you, it's for themselves. These vicious claims about me of inappropriate conduct with women are totally and absolutely false. And the Clintons know it, and they know it very well. These claims are all fabricated. They're pure fiction, and they're outright lies. They will seek to destroy your career and your family. They will seek to destroy everything about you, including your reputation. They will lie, 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 and then again, they will do worse than that. They will do whatever's necessary. The Clintons are criminals. It's not coincidence that these attacks come at the exact same moment and all together at the same time as WikiLeaks releases documents exposing the massive international corruption of the Clinton machine. They have essentially corrupted the director of the FBI to the point at which stories are already saying that the great, and they are truly great, men and women who work for the FBI are embarrassed and ashamed of what he's done to one of our truly great institutions, the FBI itself. I could have enjoyed the fruits and benefit of years of successful business deals and businesses for myself and my family, instead of going through this absolute horror show of lies, deceptions, malicious attacks. Who would have thought? I'm doing it because this country has given me so much, and I feel so strongly that it's my turn to give back to the country that I love. Our movement is about replacing a failed and corrupt, and when I say corrupt, I'm talking about totally corrupt, political establishment with a new government controlled by you, the American people.
Before you and I part ways tonight, a great honor for a singer-songwriter who has been perfecting his craft for over half-century, Bob Dylan. Blessed with a style that was all his own and transforming that style while maintaining his originality, Bob Dylan's been awarded the 2016 Nobel Prize in Literature. The Swedish Academy governing the award said Mr. Dylan had, quote, created new poetic expressions within the great American song tradition, close quote. Mr. Dylan may have been one of the original rebels of the 1960s, but lately he's been scooping up traditional honors, including a Pulitzer Prize, a Presidential Medal of Freedom, and now the Nobel Prize. Congratulations to Bob Dylan. Tomorrow on America Talks Live at 1 p.m. Eastern, attorney Mark Smith and political advisor Sam Nunberg, and of course, your telephone calls. Then tomorrow night at 8 Eastern on Newsmax Prime, Callista Gingrich, Democrat strategist Atima Omara, and reporter Maggie Howe. We'll see you then. Thanks for watching.